Hello, my name is Todd Sunhool, and I am an Indigenous person in Canada within the foster care system as well. In Canada, if you are an Indigenous person, you will go through more hardships than anyone else in the country. The government, who is supposed to have you back and support us, doesn't seem to be doing a very good job, and it shows. The amount of racism and stereotypes going on is unbelievable and needs to stop because it continues to flourish and grow. There must be a point in our future where we reach reconciliation with everyone without repeating history. For now, the only thing we can do is to keep moving forward with our rich past, knowledge, and culture as a people and as a group because we are Indigenous people. A lot of our suppression comes from the government, especially from early colonization. The way treaties were signed was a bad start, as verbal agreements were not written down. This has created a lot of confusion and control over Indigenous lives within Canada. The government has implemented their way of life onto younger generations through residential schools. This has caused a split in new generations as they do not know how to embrace their culture and as they also do not know how to feel accepted. Two-thirds of the Indigenous population in Canada do not feel respected as of 2019. The British colonial rule, if honest and kept to their word, could have kept Indigenous kids out of residential schools, and also along with the other spiraling problems we see today. The amount of racism and stereotypes going on for our people is unbelievable. White communities would tell you that a lot of the crime committed in Canada is made up of Indigenous people. News outlets also bring up the fact whenever an Indigenous person commits a crime, they are Indigenous. They never bring up the word white when a white person has committed a crime. This creates division as a lot of the racism also comes from small areas but is spread quickly. People are at each other's throats because they do not know how to handle these situations. There must be a point in our future where we reach reconciliation with everyone to help with the small and big issues regarding Indigenous people. Government officials and native leaders need to sit down together to work out the problems of drug problems, alcohol problems, and the broken family structures within Indigenous communities. The government helps Indigenous people, but they only help by sending money to the communities. This creates a lot of corruption within band reserve councils, which is not talked about a lot. This government officials and native leaders need to sit down together to come up with solutions. And if the government of Canada can get along with native leaders, this would allow for everyday citizens to get along and stop feeding onto the racism and stereotypes going on. But that will not happen until we get a serious leader within Canada. One other thing that is not talked about a lot either is Starlight Tours. Starlight Tours are where police pick up Indigenous people during the winter and drop them off outside of town naked to freeze to death. So remember, if you are Indigenous, you'll have to conquer all the hardships that will be thrown at you, and you will be able to prevail. You cannot rely on the government as much as they are shown they can't help our people as much. We cannot feed onto the racism and stereotypes to bring our people down. And it is also our duty to help with reconciliation by setting an example of how we should treat each other. You are Indigenous, you are strong, you are proud, You are spiritual, and you have the Creator by your side to help you. Have a good night and stay safe.